All right, let's record 2-4 and try to get this under 15 minutes. It's a good goal to have. Writing linear functions. We're going to use slope-intercept form to write linear functions, and we're going to write linear functions to solve problems. Those are our word problems at the end. As a reminder from last lesson, remember the slope is an equation. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And here's an example. There's a line, put a dot there. I picked an x1 and a y1, a dot there, x2 and y2. My run is x2 minus x1, right there, x2 minus x1. And my rise is y2 minus y1. Okay, slope. Order doesn't matter. Well, sort of, because it really doesn't. You just have to you have to be consistent in the order that you're in. So I have a line with 2 points. I'm saying this point is at ordered pair 1, 5. This point is at ordered pair 4, 2. So I have x1, y1, x2, y2. And let's calculate some slope. Okay, first let's do y2 minus y1. So we get 2 minus 5 over 4 minus 1. Please note, I went 2 minus 5, 4 minus 1. That gives me negative 3 over 3. 2 minus 5 is negative 3, 4 minus 1 is 3. My slope is negative 1. Okay, let's flip it around. M equals 5 minus 2 over 1 minus 4. I just did 5 minus 2, 1 minus 4. Okay, that gives me 3 over negative 3, which is also negative 1. So, go back to the thing. Slope, the order doesn't matter, as long as you're consistent. Example, find the slope of a line given 2 or more points. Find the slope of a line through negative 1, 1 and 2, negative 5. Okay, doesn't matter what order you're in as long as you're consistent. I'm going to go this way. 1 minus negative 5 over negative 1 minus 2. I went 1 minus negative 5 over 1 minus negative 5 over negative 1 minus 2, as long as you're consistent. Okay, I get 6 over negative 3. My slope is negative 2. Another example, finding the slope of a line given 2 or more points. Find the slope of the line. I'm given a table with some points in it. I need to find the slope. It does not matter which 2 points you pick. I have an xy ordered pair, an xy ordered pair, xy, xy. Pick 2, any 2. You and your neighbor can pick 2 different. It doesn't matter. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and pick, I don't know why, but those are the ones I'm picking. So, change in y, 8 minus 2 over change in x, 12 minus 4. Consistent, 8 minus 2, 12 minus 4. And that gives me 6 over 12 minus 4 is 8. Simplify, I need a fraction, always, never a decimal. There's your slope. Example, finding the slope of a line given 2 or more points. Find the slope of the line shown. I'm going to pick 2 points. If I can do that on this little graph. Doesn't matter what 2 points you pick, just pick 2. Okay, slope, slope equals, okay, 2 minus 1. So this point right here, let's write them down. This point is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, negative 2. Is that point. This point looks like negative 2, negative 2. Okay, so we get change in y, negative 2 minus a negative 2 over change in x, negative 2 minus a 3. Okay, do some addition. Negative 2 plus 2 is 0. Negative 2, negative 3 is negative 5. Our slope is 0. Because we learned yesterday that the slope of a horizontal line is always 0. You try. Find the slope of a line. Push pause and try it on your own, then look for the answer. There you go. Your slope is 1. Next. You try another one and find the slope of a line through these 2 points. There you go. You have your slope of this one too. So next set of examples. The instructions say, in slope-intercept form, write the equation of the line that contains the points in the table. So, in slope-intercept form, write the equation. All we have is points. I've got 4 ordered pairs, and we need to come up with an equation in slope-intercept form. So we need a slope, and we need a y-intercept. Slope you guys know how to calculate, because we've done that. So let's go ahead and start there. Pick 2 points. I'm going to go ahead and pick the whole numbers, because it's easier to do the addition and subtraction with the whole numbers. And do y1 minus y2, y1 minus y2, x1 minus x2. So 1 minus a negative 5 over 8 minus a negative 8 equals 6 over 16. Simplify, 3 over 8. My slope is 3 over 8. The next thing I need to do is figure out what my y-intercept is, and that's actually quite easy. I now have, at this point I have an equation, y equals m x plus b. Okay, let's move that over to the next slide. And let's go ahead and pick this ordered pair. X is 8, y is 1. So I have y equals m x plus b. I need to solve for b. So I need to pick another ordered pair from that chart, plug it into x and y, and solve for b. So let's go back. I have x is 8 and y is 1. Let's plug that into our equation. So y is 1, we have a slope, x is 8, and we're solving for b. 1 equals 3 plus b, solve for b, b equals negative 2. Now we have a slope and a y-intercept for our final equation, our answer. Let's try another one. Write the equation in slope-intercept form with slope negative 5 through point 1, 3. Okay, we already have our slope. So we have a y equals negative 5x plus b. I just used that. Stop it. I can't underline that. Sorry, we're using that slope right there. Now I'm going to use this ordered pair to find b, my y-intercept. So plug that ordered pair in. 3 is y, negative 5 times 1 is x, plus b. 3 equals negative 5 plus b. Add 5 to both sides. I'm left with b equals 8. Now we can write our equation. Y equals negative 5x plus 8. Okay, so we had our slope and our y-intercept. We plugged everything in, solved for our we had our slope and a point. So we plugged everything into our equations. First we plugged in the slope, then we grabbed the point and plugged it in, solved for b, and wrote our final equation. The one thing you're always going to want to do that you should never do is think that that goes into your y-intercept. This is an ordered pair that belongs with 1. It is not your y-intercept. All right, a table shows the rent and selling prices of properties from a game. These are your word problems. Express the rent as a function of the selling price. Let x equal your selling price and y equal your rent. Let's find our slope. Okay, pick 2 points, any 2 points, and find your slope. M equals 12 minus 9 over 90 minus 75. Okay, 3 over 15 reduced is 1 over 5. So hold that in your head. I'm moving on to the next slide. I'm going to pick 9 and 75 and see where that takes me. So x is 75, y. Okay, find the equation. So go back and pick 2 points with that slope and come up with an equation. X is 75, y is 9. and my slope equals 1/5. So get your equation. Y equals mx plus b. 1/5 times 75 is, see, 5 goes into 7 once, 25 left over, 5 goes into 25 5 times, subtract 15 from both sides, so my equation is y equals mx plus b. Hold that to your next slide. Okay, if you go back, the problem said express the rent as a function of the selling price. We did. The next question in the problem, because they're all three-part problems, is graph the relationship between the selling price and the rent. How much is the rent for a property with a selling price of $230? Oh goodness, sorry. So we're going to go ahead and graph. Okay, if you go back to your slide that has the points, we said that X was going to be your selling price, which is down here. Okay, selling price. It's not written in there because my graph is getting a little crowded. I'll write it right there. Selling price from your table on the first slide of this problem, and Y is your rent. Awesome handwriting there. That says rent. Okay, I just plotted the points. You would do this on graph paper. Did you guys hear that? Graph paper with a straight edge. You can either read your graph and figure out how much the rent is for a selling price of $230. I'm going to do selling price of $230 is approximately right there. So our rent would be approximately right there. You can get your straight edge out or read your graph that has lines on it. Not my graph done on regular paper, drawing with my finger. So the rent for the property would be approximately, around the $42 or $40 range. If you remember on the table, 250 was 44, so 230 should be less. So reading it on the table, it would be approximately $40. But you can also use your equation. Your equation said y equals 1/5 x plus b. Okay, we want a selling price of $230. The selling price is x, so just plug it in. This is what the great thing about equations. Okay, 230 times 1/5 is 46 minus 6. Y equals 40. So you have your selling price by either reading the graph or using an equation. You try. Express the cost as a linear function and the number of items. Let x be the cost and x be the items and y be the cost. I don't know why this is empty, but it doesn't affect your problem. I'm going to use the same 3 steps as we did in the last problem. Rewind and listen to it again if you don't remember. Okay, there's your slope. Do the subtraction. I got 7.5 over 3. I've taught you guys you cannot have decimals and fractions in the same answer. So I just doubled the numerator and denominator, got 15 over 6, and then simplified it for 3. Next piece was come up with an equation. Go ahead and try. So do all the math, and then your equation comes out to y equals 5 halves x plus 4. Last thing you're doing is graphing, and it actually says graph the relationship between the number of items and the cost. Hold on. So there's the actual problem. Graph the relationship between the number of items and the cost. Find the cost of 18 items. This might take you a few minutes. Go ahead and try, and then look at the answer. So in red, I have the graph. We were only given 2 points, and I'm graphing without graph paper, which makes it extremely difficult. So you see the x-axis and the y-axis. I've graphed the 2 points that are given to me, and then I tried to estimate given the graph. But then I used the equation, and I got an answer. You could also plug this equation into your calculator and come up with your y equals after you plug in an x. Okay, one more thing we need to cover before the end. Hopefully we're not running out of time. By comparing slopes, you can determine if the lines are parallel or perpendicular. Okay, parallel lines. slopes of parallel, hold on, goodness, erase, there we go. If both slopes are defined, the slopes of parallel lines are equal. So if you have two lines that are parallel, you have slopes that are equal. Okay, it's really, really important. If you have two lines that are perpendicular, the slopes are opposite reciprocal. So I have one line that has a slope of -3/2. A perpendicular line will have a slope of +2/3. So -3/2 and +2/3. Everything else about the line can be different, but your slopes are opposite reciprocal, negative, positive, and you flip it. The slopes here are exactly the same. So remember that. Parallel lines equal slopes, perpendicular, opposite. Okay, let's try a few. Write an equation of the line in slope-intercept form parallel to y equals 1.x plus 3 and through 5, 2. So parallel means the slope of my new line is going to be exactly the same. So let's use our slope-intercept form. Y equals 1.8x plus b and solve for b. And there you go. I did the multiplication and solve for b. Let's try another one. Perpendicular to y equals -3/2 x minus 1 and through that point. So perpendicular, the slope of my new line is going to be the opposite reciprocal. Plug in y equals new m x plus b and solve for your y-intercept. That's a b, not a 6. So I did the math, solved for b, and came up with a new equation. So the old equation, my new one, the slope is the opposite reciprocal and a new y-intercept. You try. Write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form parallel to y equals 5x minus 3. I'm going to point out here that we have our old equation. I'm not doing anything with this y-intercept. I don't care. I have a new line with the same slope going through that point. This y-intercept means nothing. I'm finding my new y-intercept. You try the last one.